cupcakes. Welcome to your first official Bunny University class. Give me some hoops in the chat if you can hear us.
Let's see some hoops. Who is ready to learn?
Hoops. I'm seeing a lot of hoops. That's great news. So, this is our first official Bunny University class. Bunny University started as a joke. It is the name on the cheerleaders' uniforms on the honeys, but now it is a real thing. We're here today. I'm here with Rat Benatar to teach you guys how to launch your own Web3 contract and minting website using amazing third web technology. So, what do you think, Rat? Are you ready to get going?
I am ready. Yeah, just taking a look at the chat. It's so exciting seeing so many different people here. I think today is going to be a ton of fun. It's There's a lot of really powerful content in here. We're going to be going through everything all told. It'll take probably about 45 minutes to an hour. We don't expect you to remember everything, and so after the class, we have a nice document for you that's just going to have everything that you need that we covered, including a replay link to today's video, a step-by-step checklist to help you get set up with your own contract and minting site, all the resources that you're going to need. And the best part is, not only is this class free, but the entire project getting set up is, depending on exactly what you're using, is free to extremely affordable and cheap at worst. So I think today is going to be a ton of fun. Yeah, those are my thoughts on it. How about you, Stacey's?
Yeah, I totally agree. Hi, everybody in the chat. I see so many friendly faces. We got Brooke, we got Lizzie, we got Girlfriend, we got Ghost Cam, we got Chris. There's so many people. I'm really, really excited to get started.
Perfect. All right. So the way that this is going to work, thank you everybody for coming to class and taking your seats. The way that this is going to work is I'm just going to kind of run through just a very brief slide deck, kind of give an overview on the project. We'll talk a little bit about who we are, what we're about to do, what you're going to be able to do after this class, a couple of things like that, and then we'll get into the heart of the class, which is I'm going to walk through step by step. We'll get a live demo on how to do all of this for yourself, and then we'll have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the class. Now, having said that, if at any point I'm going over anything and a question comes up, or if I've glossed over something, and you want a little bit more context, or if you just missed something, feel free to put your questions into the chat. We will do our best to answer everything in real time, take a step back if we have to, and just make sure that everybody's up to speed. If you feel like your question is not being reached, you can always be sure to hit that cute little cupcake icon next to your chat bubble and highlight your message. But with that said, we're going to get started. And I felt like the best way to get started is really just to introduce ourselves. So I'm going to let Stacey's take a second now to introduce herself to anybody who may not be familiar with who she is and just honeys in general. So take it away, Stacey's.
Thanks, Rat. So, I'm a lifelong artist. I started my crypto journey back in 2018, experimenting with Bitcoin and Ethereum and all that good stuff. I created my first NFT collection in March of 2021, and that was Crypto Stacy's. At the time, it was kind of one of the first, female representations on the blockchain, which was super cool to be a part of. And then, I started from zero followers and zero zero knowledge to what we have now. We grew it into the Honey's OG collection and the Honey's 10K collection, and now we have this beautiful, amazing community thanks to all of you, and we're just having a beautiful time building out all this stuff. So that's a little bit about me.
Perfect. Yeah, Crypto Stacy's is an absolute legend in this space. If you are not familiar, then you need to make sure that you are following everything that Stacy's does, as well as the Honeys brand. We love to welcome all kinds of new people. As for myself, my name is Rap Benatar. I have a background in just working in a variety of areas inside of tech. Most recently, I had been a product manager with a marketing background at a digital marketing brand. And then last August, actually about a year ago today, I launched my first NFT project called All Rats, hence the name Rat Benatar. And we launched on Polygon about a year ago, and we've always just had a focus on education and onboarding and trying to take really difficult concepts and make them easier. Fast forward to about April, I had two big things happen. Number one, I became the community manager for Honeys, which is the greatest joy of my work life and social life. And I also had the honor of jumping on with a project called Third Web as their one of their YouTube content producers. So if you actually go to Third Web's YouTube channel, and we'll be talking about Third Web extensively over this course, and you click on some of those videos, chances are you're going to hear my voice. So if there's anything that we didn't cover in today's lesson, you can always go to that YouTube channel and catch some more in-depth content there. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm going to show you just a quick overview of today's class. We are going to be briefly reviewing different types of NFT contracts. We are going to be looking at why it is important to own your contract versus maybe minting directly on OpenSea. We're going to talk about some quick pros and cons there. And then we're going to briefly review the different tools that we'll be using today. Again, this slide deck and all the different notes that we're going to be covering will be available right after class, so don't feel the need to screenshot or write anything down. All this information is here for you. So by the end of this hour, by the end of this class, you will know how to do the following. You will be able to launch your very own NFT contract. You will be able to allow users to come to your own website so that they can mint their own tokens from your collection. And I'm going to show you how to use what I consider NFT power tools like allow lists, delayed reveals, airdrops, and more. Before we jump in, last call, especially for any of you that are now watching this on YouTube after the class is over, be sure to follow and subscribe to Crypto Stacy's on Twitch. Be sure to follow Honeys NFT on Twitter, and be sure to join the Honeys Discord and let us know what you've created. So just as a brief overview for everything that we're going to be talking about today, when we talk about NFT contracts, what we're really talking about is there are different kind of like token standards out there that are optimized for different use cases. We're not going to be covering every single one, but we will be talking about two that you're probably familiar with today, which is ERC 721 and ERC 1155. These are the two most common token standards out there that you would see in the NFT space. For an example of each one, ERC 721 tokens, that's going to be equivalent to your Honeys 10K collection. So any of the tokens in the 10K collection, those are ERC 721 tokens. These are the kinds of tokens where each one is unique and each token only has one holder. Compare that to something like ERC 1155, sometimes known as an edition NFT. These are going to be what the Honey Seasons are built on. So the difference there being you can create one token and it can have as many different owners as there are tokens available. So when Stacy's does Honey Seasons, she's not creating hundreds and hundreds of copies of the same token. She's really just creating the one token and airdropping it out to a wide number of holders. So those are kind of the two different token standards that we're going to be talking about today.
And Rat, Mr. JT was actually wondering, how will the merge change this, and is it worth waiting till after?
Yes, that's a really good question. So it's kind of a it's kind of a long topic to get into. I would actually encourage you to either jump into the Honey's Discord so that way we can talk about that after, or reach out to us on Twitter. The reason I said it's complicated is there are a lot of different narratives out there. Unfortunately, not all of them have your best interest at heart. We have seen a couple different scammy or potentially malicious narratives being spread about all different things that you might need to prepare for in order to quote unquote protect your NFTs from the merge. In reality, from everything that I've seen and all of the people that I talk to regularly that are far smarter than I, there's really not going to be any kind of a difference. If you're looking to set up a project, personally, I say seize the day and just do it today. But we can always talk about more specifics afterwards if you feel more comfortable doing that. But excellent question. So next, just want to quickly review why even doing this matters. Why it's important to think about owning your actual contract versus maybe say minting directly onto OpenSea. So when you think about the different benefits of actually owning your own contract, there's a ton of different reasons. Here are just a handful of my favorite and most impactful reasons. Number one, and possibly most importantly, you're no longer depending on OpenSea to exist in order for your NFT collection to exist. It's really difficult to say if OpenSea is going to be around forever, or what changes they might make, or if they end up going down at some point. It's so much better to just own your own content and be able to carry it with you wherever you go, as long as you have that wallet, as opposed to relying on OpenSea. It's akin to maybe relying on a website that is powered by something like AWS. If AWS goes down, the servers go down, your website goes down. So it's just one of those big things where you feel like maybe there's no danger in just letting OpenSea handle it, but you just never know. Similar to there's a whole conversation to be had there from any kind of custodial wallet situation as well, which is kind of similar. Next, owning your own contract gives you so much more flexibility when it comes to integrating third-party tools with your contract. So here, think about Discord bots. We see some opportunities where this is getting a little bit easier if your content is minted directly onto OpenSea, but when it comes to actually being able to do very specific things with your contract, such as verifying ownership of a given token, or anytime that Honeys runs a survey nowadays, we use a service called Backtalk, and we require that you verify that you have ownership of a Honeys 10K NFT in order to participate in that survey. That concept is possible because there is a distinct contract that you can specify and say, hey, this is the only contract that I'm looking at. I don't want to deal with any other contract. I just need people to verify that they are on this specific contract. That kind of thing is not possible on OpenSea. And it's just a really good way to separate yourself from the sort of generic OpenSea storefront contract address. Another thing, if your collection is one that, where people are interested in sort of the token ID or the sequential order of your different tokens, a lot of collectors out there really want to know that they have, the very first token in your collection or, some kind of specific number. That kind of thing is also only possible if you actually own your contract. Otherwise, you are just one of the millions and millions of other pieces inside of the OpenSea storefront contract. And finally, this makes things easier to sort through on sites like Etherscan. If you are familiar at all with Etherscan, it is far easier to look up the history of a contract and look at the different trades, look at the different owners, verify, how many holders are holding all the different pieces inside of your collection. All of that is possible when you own your own contract. Just as an example, towards the end of each month, Honeys has to take a look at who are the different owners within the Honeys community, so that way we can properly send out all the different airdrops to the respective holders throughout the course of the month. It is possible to go to Etherscan and just take a look right at the website and see, okay, cool, here are my different holders. It's all in this unique contract. It's not shared with OpenSea. Cool, I have my entire list in about 5 seconds. Could not be easier. Anytime that you actually have to deal with the OpenSea contract, if you're just minting directly on OpenSea, yes, it is possible. You kind of have to go through a lot of different extra steps. But again, it's just that simplicity and that ease of use when you have your own contract versus getting muddied up in OpenSea's overall storefront contract that houses, again, millions of different NFTs. Okay, and finally, we're going to be using a couple different tools here today, one of which is ThirdWeb. That is the big one. ThirdWeb is the service that we're going to use for basically all of our NFT creation and maintenance. And you're going to be getting a crash course on what that looks like and how it works. We also need to make sure that we have a tool for creating our metadata. We'll talk more about exactly what that looks like. So you want some kind of a spreadsheet tool like Google Sheets or Excel. We want to make sure that we have a simple site builder, whether that's Google Sites, which is free. There's a service called Card, which is not free, but it's extremely cheap. It's like $19 per a year. And then WordPress, of course, is always an option, and your rates may vary there. And yeah, so I know that that's kind of a lot, but like we said, after class, a document will be available with all the different links that you need, and even beyond what we just talked about here. So yeah, in sum, we'll be using ThirdWeb really just because it's easy to set up and maintain. Your contracts have already been audited for safety and security vectors from a third-party service. You're going to get great multimedia support at upload. This is what allows you to not just upload static images, but also animated GIFs or MP4s with audio attached. Anytime that you create something, it will be automatically picked up by OpenSea and other markets like Rarible, Coinbase NFT, Looks Rare, all that kind of stuff. And plus, they make airdrop and just any general token support very readily available and easy to use. And the team is just great about constantly making updates and adding new features all the time. So that is a lot of information. We're going to take a real quick pause here before we jump into the demo itself, the heart of the class. But one thing that we wanted to do was make sure that we provide you with a POAP today for your attendance. This is a neat little token that we will be sending out in the coming week or so to anybody that attended this class as just sort of your badge that says, hey, I was at the very first Bunny University class with the Honeys team. I will walk through right now how you can actually claim that spot and verify that you were here for this class. We are going to go to backtalk.io/survey/R3. And the best co-host in the world has already shared that link for you in the chat. So you can go ahead and click on that. And in the meantime, I'm actually just going to fill it out right here on screen. And that way you can see what it looks like. All I'm going to do is log in. It's not going to cost me anything. There's no gas fees on doing this. All you're doing is you are connecting your wallet. So that way you can verify that you are who you say you are. And I'm going to just quick answer this one question survey, which asks, have you ever launched your own NFT project before? And I'm going to say yes. And click next and submit.
I'm hearing that it says the link says it's closed.
Okay. Let me check on that super quick.
One of the questions Chris had is he says, I've heard a lot about issues with trait sniping on OpenSea and ETH projects. Something like because of all the images and metadata are sent, hackers can snoop the traits, etc. Does using ThirdWeb avoid those kinds of issues?
Yeah, so that's an excellent question. Let me get to that in just a second for you, Chris. Waldorf, yes, it is 100% safe to connect. That is all you're doing is basically signing a transaction that, or signing a message rather. I'm sorry, not a transaction. You're signing a message that says that your wallet address belongs to you. And yeah, it looks like we're maybe hitting some kind of a rate limit based on what the chat is saying. If you are having trouble, please just, I would just say go ahead and refresh the page and it should be working for you.
And if it's not working right away, just hang on to the link. We'll provide it again at the end. And yeah, you should be able to sign up just maybe when there's less people trying to access the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Now to go right back to Chris's question. Yeah, so let me try to answer this, and Chris, you let me know if I've answered your question or not. I think I know what you're getting at. There is, so I believe what you're describing is, let's say I am also to launch a 10,000 piece collection, and I go ahead and I update all of the content, or excuse me, I upload all of the content for all 10,000 pieces ahead of time. And I do that into a service like ThirdWeb. Yes, technically, there is a way that somebody could dig through the contents of my contract and basically be able to see ahead of time which pieces are going to fall into which order. So people would be able to technically snipe out different pieces that they're looking for. This was a problem. I mean, technically, I guess it still is, uh, just given that it's possible. Although I would caution against how much you actually worry that about that kind of thing, because number one, it is quite difficult to actually be able to look into that information. Most people, uh, your average person, is not necessarily equipped or uh, understanding of how you can accurately look up that information. Number two, just because you can see something that is available at a given number doesn't mean that you necessarily get access to that NFT. Requires people to, time things 100% correctly. If they're looking at, token number 7, and they see that right now, you know, if they were to mint right now, it'd be like token number 4. Um, it's going to require a lot of timing to make sure that, you're minting the exact token ID that you want. So there's a couple different things going on there that I would say that although it's technically possible, it's not necessarily something to, again, be overly cautious about. But there's also different ways that you can further protect against that. One of which being, if you end up using something like a delayed reveal, then that problem goes away entirely, because the actual metadata for the contents for the individual tokens is not going to be available until you actually choose to reveal that information. Um, Other than that, yeah, uh, if you have the know-how to code your own contracts, so that way the NFTs themselves are actually being generated at the time of minting, rather than you've already pre-populated what the contract looks like, then that would be another way around that. And for that last example, Third Web doesn't necessarily have something in it that can generate the NFT metadata at the time of minting. It will require you to put in the content ahead of time. So, although technically that loophole, or yeah, I guess you would call that a loophole, although that technically exists, it's not something that I would personally be overly concerned with. I hope that answers your question. If not, be sure to reach out to either myself or Stacy's afterwards, and we can talk about that further. All right. Any other questions that I missed, Stacy's, before we jump in and actually start building?
No, I think we're all set, Rat.
All right, let's do it. So, uh, now that my initial rambling is out of the way, now we get into the fun part. We're going to start building. So we've now mentioned this service a handful of times already. We are going to be using Third Web in order to build out our project. Third Web is going to be what we use to create the contract itself, maintain and manage the different NFTs on there. It's going to be how we generate the little widget that allows your community to come to your website and actually mint NFTs out of your collection. And it's going to do so much stuff. The one of the nicest things about Third Web is it is 100% free, outside of costs that Third Web cannot control. So you will have a tiny amount of cost when it comes to actually deploying the contract itself, and that's because you're actually making transactions onto the blockchain. So just whatever gas is at that moment is going to be the amount that you are paying. In fact, I actually have this really handy kind of like a calculator. If you're ever curious, at thirdweb.com/gas, that will show you the approximate cost for anything that you're looking to do. But yeah, other than that, they don't take any royalties. They don't take anything out of your revenue. It is really just, uh, outside of the gas fees themselves, it is totally free. So, what I'm going to do is start by deploying our contract. Um, Again, thirdweb.com, totally free. You can go there, just click the start building button, and you will have an account that easily. You're ready to go. ThirdWeb does a ton of different things. They handle not just NFTs, but all kinds of governance stuff, ERC20 tokens if you're building a currency. You can even set up your own white label marketplace. It can do all kinds of stuff. I wish we had 8 hours to go through all of their cool content, but we do not. So I'm just going to focus on what we're building, which is an NFT drop. The reason that we're releasing a drop is, again, that's kind of the concept behind our actual ability to allow our users to mint. When we refer to an NFT drop, we're referring to the fact that we're dropping a collection and users can come to our website and mint their pieces out of the collection. So I'm going to release a drop, and specifically an NFT drop. You can see this nice little audited check mark here to let me know that this contract is as secure as it can possibly be. And I'm going to click that. And right away, I am faced with just a couple settings here to actually set up the collection. Now, this is really important. And one of the first things that you will ever notice about any given collection, which is you are going to give it a name, a description, a promotional image, and you will give it a token symbol. So just like something like ETH or Matic has its own symbol, your contract is going to have its own symbol. So I can just come in here and fill this basically with whatever I want that's going to make sense for my project. I'm going to make my token symbol bunny, which is a really cute token symbol.
I like it.
Yeah, I don't know if I know any other bunny contracts out there. And then my description, which I'm just taking the opportunity to say that this is the description of my collection that will show up on OpenSea, Rarible, Coinbase NFT, LooksRare, and other marketplaces. Finally, I'm going to take our cute little bunny U emblem and make that the promo image for my collection. Now, if a week goes by and I realize, oh man, I made a mistake, I want to update the name, or I want to update the description, or even the promotional image, I can totally do that. This is just, if this thing were to go live right now, this is the information that's going with it.
Can you update your token symbol?
I believe that you can, but that is a really good thing to just double check at the end of the stream, just to be sure, because I can't actually think of logistically how that would work. Mm-hmm. I thought I recalled being able to do that inside of the ThirdWeb dashboard. We'll take a look. Actually, we'll take a look in just a second here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to launch this contract, and then we'll just see if I can retroactively update the token symbol there.
And Efex asks, is it IPFS?
It is, yes. So that's another really, really nice thing about ThirdWeb is you are not taking on any additional cost for storing all of your NFT metadata inside of IPFS. One of the next steps that we're going to be taking is actually uploading the NFTs themselves into the contract. And ThirdWeb helps, sort of bridge the gap between you uploading and actually getting them pinned to IPFS. So all that stuff happens in the background for you. It's all automatic. There's actually even a YouTube channel that I did on the Third Web YouTube. Sorry, there's a video there on Third Web's YouTube channel that explains a little bit more about IPFS and how that all works. But yes, you are not hosting content on, let's say, Third Web's centralized servers. Great question.
And Sunny Days
Uh,
asks, do you put an ASC image to be added to the contract?
so I'm not positive. Are you talking about like I never pronounced this correctly, like ASCII art, like the I typically see it as this that I'm putting in the chat, ASCII. Um, are you talking about like where you're actually like creating an image out of the characters? Yeah. So you can do that. You can totally do that if you want. But well, let me back up a second. Um, whatever you could do that in certain places, and if you were to say take like a custom contract and deploy it through Third Web, which you can actually do, you would be able to you know, basically put in whatever you want. In this case, I'm using predefined contracts from Third Web, so nothing I touch is actually updating, or there's no real field inside the dashboard that's going to allow me to change, you know, parts of the code or update that. So in the contract itself, no, not necessarily. But there are other places or other means of being able to do that kind of thing. That's a funny Easter egg kind of thing to bring up. All right, so there's really only two other main parts about this contract to take a look at that are, one of which is extremely important if you are especially looking to get paid. So once all your settings are configured up at the top, your next thing to take a look at is your payout settings. So by default, it's going to just make the primary recipient address your connected wallet address. So what that means is for all primary sales, which is the very first time that an NFT is minted or bought, you are receiving 100% of the revenue to that specific address. You can make that address whatever you want. By default, it's just going to be your own address. Next is your secondary sales, your royalties. So this is where you determine, hey, if something is sold on the secondary market, like OpenSea or Looks Rare or something like that, Rareable. Again, which address are we sending the royalties to? By default, it's going to choose your connected wallet, and it's going to give you a percentage here. So typically, you'll see anywhere from on the lower end, sometimes 0, but more commonly like maybe 1 to 2% on the lower end. 5% is right about the average, and then all the way I've seen all the way up to 10% for some collections. But you can really make this percentage whatever you need it to be. And by default, that's going to configure all of the different secondary marketplaces to follow that pattern. One of the things that you should just keep in mind if you are messing with the percentage is it's always a really smart thing to make sure that you're in communication with your community about and that you're transparent. You know, it wouldn't be very cool for your community if you do something like make it 50% or anything like that, at least without being transparent. So if you're just looking for like a baseline, middle of the road, I'd say anywhere from 5% or below, pretty standard. And again, it will go to the wallet that you've set up here. And then finally, your actual network or chain that you are deploying on. So I will actually deploy to the main net because we do have actual NFTs that we're going to put up here, created by Stacy's herself. But if you are looking at this and going, I'm not really ready to spend actual money just yet, you are more than welcome to launch your project on any of the test networks here, which are not going to cost you any real money. And you can, that way you get a whole visual on exactly how everything works, but without actually putting in the capital. So I'm going to deploy this real quick. It's going to require a transaction. So this will take a second. And while we're waiting for this, this is an excellent time if there are any questions that we've missed.
Yeah, so Salty had a great question when you were talking about the royalties, which was, can you do splits, like multiple wallets? And I kind of answered this in chat, but ThirdWeb actually has the ability to create like a address that's contract payment split right inside the same dashboard. If you wanted to just talk about that a little, Rat.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we can look at that super quick. So basically, what a split is referring to is the ability to quite literally split out different payments based on different percentages to different people that are working on the project. So I'll give you a great example. Stacey's and I set one of these up for the Hoop Scouts collection. Basically, what you can do is, let's say we're launching a new collection and there are 10 different people that are working on this project and they're all doing different things. Well, it'd be a real pain to maybe at the end of each month or every couple weeks, it'd be a real pain to if I'm setting this up on my wallet, to take a look at what I've received and then divvy out 9 or 10 different ways at different percentages, which payments are going to which people, to which addresses. With a split, however, nice little voice crack there. I'm excited about splits. You can actually just put in basically as many different wallets as you need. And this way you can say, hey, for this person, let's give them 10%. Let's give this person 20%. I want this person to receive 30%. This person can get, they don't do a whole lot for us. They can just get 2%, and so on and so on. And you can, make sure that you add up to 100% in total. And it's just a really great way to make sure that if you are working with multiple people and you've agreed upon different payout results for all these different people, ThirdWeb's split contract will just automatically take into account anytime that like a royalty payment comes in or even a primary payment. If you set it up that way, it will make sure to divvy out proportionately the different amounts based on the different percentages that you've put in here. So excellent question.
Thanks. And then Chris was asking, are contract symbol names like Bunny unique, or can there be multiples? Could he also call his token Buddy if it already exists?
Yeah, so they are not unique. You would be able to actually do that. Unfortunately, that's actually a way that more often it was happening like 4 to 6 months ago. Kind of or I guess even earlier than that. When the market was really cooking, which was and there was a lot of airdrops going on constantly. People were spoofing token symbols all the time. And unfortunately that, token symbols are not unique. And so if you're not looking carefully, somebody might send you a token and the token symbol is ETH, but it's actually not ETH at all. It's always best to take a look at Etherscan and, actually try to verify in the content, verify in the contract itself or any other place on Etherscan that is going to point you to a red flag. So yeah, they are not unique. Also, to follow up on a previous question, once I've deployed the contract, just like I thought, you cannot uh, update the token symbol later. So now that I've chosen Bunny and I've deployed my contract, I am stuck with Bunny.
Perfect.
Um,
So no updating your token. Chris was asking, are there copyright concerns if you named your token ETH? I won't have Vitalik knocking on my door. We can't really give legal advice, Chris, because we don't have legal backgrounds here. But I would definitely be careful about any trademarked or copywritten material for sure, because Web3 is the Wild West right now, but it won't always be that way. So that would be my advice. And then he also asks for the split contract, can you adjust it easily if the number of people changes or if the percentages change?
yeah, so that's an excellent question. You actually cannot update it after the fact. Um, so a split contract, if you are using that, uh, if you do need to make changes, you would basically need to set up a different contract. It's possible that you can adjust the percentages for the different addresses that are in there. Even that, I don't know that you can actually do. We can double check real quick. No, you cannot. So uh, once your split contract is deployed, um, that's it's kind of set in stone there.
But really,
So,
what it is doing is it's just giving you an address that's split to send things to. So there's nothing to really stop you from deploying a new split with the new values, other than that small fee to deploy it if you wanted to change
absolutely.
things.
Yeah. I see one other question from the Waldorf. Will you always be using a site like this? I assume that you're referring to Third Web. Will you always be using a site like this to make a contract, or is it ever done directly on Etherscan? It's a good question. You are welcome to deploy something directly through uh, Etherscan, or even make changes through Etherscan. It's not exactly a rudimentary user's easiest interface to work with. That's kind of the joy of a platform like Third Web is they take what is otherwise daunting and very complex, and they like to make it as simple and easy as possible. But if you know what you're doing, and of course, if you have the correct ownership permissions, and you own a pertinent wallet to a contract, uh, there's a lot of stuff that you can do directly through a site like Etherscan.
Great. And we had
Uh,
one last question from Flick here before we jump to the next part, which was, do you get a chance to make changes to the contract source code before you deploy it?
yeah, so excellent question, Flick. For the for the actual like pre-built contracts, you do not. Now, a different topic for a different day is the fact that Third Web, for the past 2 or 3 months, has been working really hard to um, beef up their different developer, I guess, the developer experience. In that, they have a whole means of basically, well, there's really two things. Number one, you can actually take any custom contract that you want to create, or you can just grab something off of GitHub, and you can actually deploy it through Third Web. The benefit of that is that uh, you can then, like, that contract then becomes usable within the Third Web dashboard, and so you can kind of start off with the more developer experience. You can make any kind of changes preemptively that you need to, but ultimately you can still manage a bulk of the assets just right from the dashboard. So that's possibility number one. Number two is, and I'm not as familiar with this because this is really like brand new, is they are Third Web has been in the middle of releasing sort of like a kind of like the equivalent of GitHub, but for smart contracts specifically, where you can kind of go through this directory and find any contract that you want that anybody in their community has created, and you can either deploy it as is, or you can tweak it, make any kind of changes that you need to, and then deploy it from there. So that's the long answer. The short answer is for the pre-built contracts, which is what we're using for this demo, you cannot make changes before deploy. But if you are doing something, if you're taking advantage of some of their more recent developer experience tools, then you can make those changes.
And I want to just take a second to encourage everyone here. There's a lot of experienced developers in the chat, and there's a lot of like a slightly more advanced questions. So don't be intimidated by that. This is not stuff that you need to just execute this first drop that we're showing off today. Everyone has to start somewhere. Don't worry about all that.
Absolutely, great point. So, all right, cool. We're going to move on to recap our last step. Really, what we've done so far is kind of just the first big step, which is actually deploying the contract itself. There's a couple different things here now on my Third Web dashboard when I'm clicked into the contract. I have a whole bunch of buttons to look at, and we're going to be going through a couple of them. But one of the first things here is I've actually received my contract address. And so I can just click on this to copy it. And if I were to go to a site like Etherscan and search for this contract, I can actually see that the contract exists. Again, just like it showed inside of Third Web, it had that little check mark to let you know that it's been audited and deemed secure and ready to use. Yeah, it's kind of neat. There's no data on it just yet, but it's kind of neat to be able to see that, this thing now exists and I can prove it. It's here on Etherscan. It has been recorded. So where are we going to go from there? Well, I think what we're going to do is actually get into the actual uploading of the NFTs themselves. This is one of the really fun parts. So now let's say, you've got your art, now you're ready to put it onto your NFT contract. Because we are doing an NFT drop, and we will have a number of different NFTs that people can come and mint, we have the option of either adding things one by one, which their interface kind of makes it easy for you to be able to see how this kind of stuff would show up on a place like OpenSea, where you're putting in, the art asset itself. You're doing a name, a description, and then any of your properties, and you can do all that, and you can create each piece one at a time. Or in our case, what we're going to be doing is a batch upload. So batch upload is highly recommended for anybody that's literally doing more than one piece. The reason is, number one, it's going to help just from an organizational standpoint. It'll help you kind of see everything, line up your different names of traits properly, and it's just going to help you organize your entire collection better. It's going to save you time, and it's actually going to save you money, because whether you are uploading one piece through the batch upload, or if you're uploading all 10,000 pieces at the same time through one batch upload, you're going to be paying the same exact cost. So it's a really handy thing to keep in mind. Now, I'm not going to read all of this content here for you, but here's the highlights of what you need to know. And you're going to see me do this myself in a second. Basically, when it comes to uploading in bulk, you really just need two things. You need the art itself, and you need the metadata. The metadata is all of your Uh, Most commonly, it's text, but it's kind of all the different data points that go along with your NFT. And again, that's your name, your description, any kind of traits that you want to call out that are associated with your NFTs. So what we're going to do is build a really, really simple spreadsheet, and we'll see, kind of how this works and how to properly upload it into Third Web. What they have for you here is an example file with a template that you can work off of. I'm going to just use a CSV file because I'm going to show you. We really just have three pieces that we're adding today. But if you are using, some kind of program out there and really doing like a generative collection, the metadata file that you're probably going to receive is a JSON file, and so they have a template for you there as well. But for today, we're just going to use a CSV, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that CSV into Google Sheets. So I prefer that to something like Excel or Numbers from Mac. And I will try to increase the font size here so that way we can kind of see what we're looking at here. So basically, all we're looking at is this is just a template file from Third Web that tries to show you the kind of the format in which you want to construct your NFT's metadata. Each column is its own trait, and that includes your name, your description, and then again any other outstanding traits. So let's actually take a look at I'm going to show you the artwork that we're going to be uploading here, and then we can just pick out one or two things that we're going to describe our NFTs with. So this is super, super cute and fun art that Stacy's created for us today. We have these three pieces. Stacy, do you have a name for any of these special pieces, or want to talk about what made you draw in this style?
Yeah, this is a Stacy's stick figure, and we needed something for this in a short amount of time. So, yeah, that's Janessa we got there, the first one. The second one, what does she look like again? Oh, this is Bob.
Bob, okay.
And the third one, Helvetica. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So this is the art that we are going off of. What Stacy's calls a stick figure is what I would consider, 100 hours worth of very focused time if I was creating that. But, that's why Stacy's is an artist and I'm not. So what I'm going to do is basically just get rid of real quick these different traits, these filler traits that are here in my CSV, and we are going to make our own. So we're going to, I'm going to say, let's have something for background color, and we'll do hair color. But really, if I wanted to, I can, get as detailed or as specific as I want. I can add in a trait for eye color or expression, or hair accessory, all kinds of stuff. Sometimes you see collections that have 20 different traits that can be filtered on, to help enhance sort of the collector's experience and really play into the rarity of certain items. And sometimes collections are more simple and they're not as concerned with the actual what you would say like the rarity count. So So, okay. And then in a second, once we upload this, I'm going to show you how you can actually like confirm that it's going to look good in OpenSea before we even have to spend a dime. Um, so Stacy's, can you just quickly spell Janessa for me for this first piece?
Yes, Janessa.
Perfect. And in the interest of time, I will make a really short description and also be very crude with my art or my color choices. I'm not somebody that looks at it and goes, it's not quite pink. It's more like a mauve with a white hue to it. Nope, things are just red, blue, yellow, or green to me. So I apologize to all the artists out there that I'm probably driving nuts. Um,
We are deeply offended. And
I'm sure.
while you're doing this, Chris asks, can you use uppercase, lowercase mixed for label headings, and will the underscores show up? Are spaces not allowed? Thanks and sorry again. No sorry necessary. We are here to answer questions.
Yeah, absolutely. That it is a really good question. There's a document inside of OpenSea's help docs. I'm glad you brought that up because what I'm going to do is I'm going to include that in the overall document that we pass off to everybody. And they will actually answer all of those specific questions because they actually have like a specific guide on, here are the formatting do's and don'ts. Here's what's accepted. Here's what's not accepted, along with any kind of markdown that you want to include in your metadata as well. So sorry that I don't know the specifics on that exact question or two. But again, I will include in your resources at the end of this class document from OpenSea that will confirm all of those different questions that you have. So thank you for bringing that up, and definitely no apologies necessary. And Bob does look like an alien girl, but we are not here to judge. The only thing that I'm judging right now is my poor memory. I already forgot the name of our lovely third piece here.
this is
Macy's, if you could remind me.
this is Helvetica, like the font.
Helvetica, right? Of course.
Chat remembered. Good job, chat.
Chad is far smarter than I am. Herp. Okay. So I got my CSV here. You can imagine that, the further through that you go, you're really just adding more and more rows based on how many different pieces that you have. So I'm going to quickly export this as a CSV, and I'm going to show you, we'll see if we did this correctly, chat, but I'll show you before we even have to spend money, ThirdWeb is going to confirm or deny for us if we did this correctly. So what I'm going to do, I'm realizing that actually in the folder setup, you cannot see exactly how my folder is structured, so I'm going to fix that in just a second. Bear with me on that. It's really simple. It's just, one of those things that you just want to make sure that it's configured properly.
I love this because even if you're someone who doesn't care about the decentralization problems with the default OpenSea contract, so you might be dissuaded from using this. The bulk upload feature is just something that they don't have available yet without some development knowledge. So this is like, even if you're doing a collection of 100 pieces, this is a huge benefit.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so what I'm showing off here is just a screenshot of like what my Finder window looks like on my Mac. You're just looking at a folder that I have set up. The important thing to know here is just that I have one folder. It's got my art in it. It's got my CSV that we just exported, and I'm going to upload both of them at the same time. And again, ThirdWeb has all this information here for you. If you're ever in the middle of this and you're stumbling on one specific step, if ThirdWeb doesn't have it explicitly laid out inside its dashboard, then the resources that we're giving to you will include that as well. So I have not confirmed any transaction just yet. I simply took that folder that I showed you a screenshot of. Again, just a folder with the files and the CSV on the same folder. Click and drag that right into ThirdWeb, and what it's showing me here is my preview of not just my art, but my metadata with it. And so I can see, I got Janessa here, the correct image, correct description. I have a trait type for background color, and the value is yellow, just like I had it. Trait type for hair color, and the value is pink, just like I had it. Bob looks good. Helvetica looks good. I think that we are good to go. And so I'm going to hit next. This is, again, not just for your own peace of mind, here within ThirdWeb, but it's really confirming for you where it really matters, which is the marketplaces, your OpenSea, your Coinbase NFT, things like that. So really nice touch to make sure that you don't have to actually spend the money and complete the transaction before you can see if you did it right or not. So I've just hit next, and then I have two really cool features on here that were previously extremely difficult to be able to set up for the average user, that ThirdWeb just took and made stupidly easy, all from the same screen. One of which you can see right here, which is I have the option to either do a reveal upon mint, or I can do a delayed reveal. And so, previously that was way, way, way harder than ThirdWeb is making it. And they've just baked it right into their interface, made it nice and easy.
Oh, that is so amazing. Sorry, let me gush over this for a second. Because coming from a 1/1 artist background, the idea of being able to do a delayed reveal as a one artist would be so cool, and have this whole minting infrastructure. You're not just, you can sell things the way the generative collections do without being a generative artist. And that's oh my gosh, that's just so cool.
Absolutely. I totally I totally agree. Sorry, I was responding to chat there. Yeah, I know so many. I was involved in minting a handful of delayed reveal collections when they were first, kind of hitting the scene and were first popping up. And there was one, there was one. I think it was a free mint months and months ago, but it was the kind of thing where it was they figured out how to set up the delayed state, but they never quite figured out how to actually do the reveal. And so I have a piece or two in my wallet from 9 or 10 months ago of it's still in the pre-reveal state. Maybe someday they'll figure it out, but yeah, ThirdWeb takes all the guesswork, all the dev know-how out of that step, and makes it super easy. Let me just explain for anybody that's looking at delayed reveal and has no idea what we're talking about, why this is a powerful feature, and kind of what the difference is. So if I select the default option right here for reveal upon mint, basically what that's going to do is as soon as somebody goes and mints an NFT from my drop, they're going to see exactly what the art is. They're going to be able to see all the metadata associated with it, and that's going to include, all the things that we just worked on together: the name, the description, the different traits associated with it, things like that. If I were to choose delayed reveal, then what this does is it sort of helps, depending on what you're doing, it can help kind of level the playing field from, say, like an investment standpoint. It's really good at building up some excitement, throwing in, an extra challenge or extra mystery into your drop. It's really, really great if you have, some big, well thought out like story or some lore to go along with your drop, and maybe there's some kind of creative narrative that you have that tells your community, why when they mint something they're not able to see exactly what they got until just a specific moment. So by choosing a delayed reveal, I basically set it up so that anytime that somebody mints something from the collection, they're going to see like placeholder content. That way, everybody that's minted is going to see the exact same placeholder content. And then at a given time of my choosing, I can come back into Third Web and choose to reveal the artwork. And then that way, it will not just reveal, what the piece looks like, but also all of the traits and the metadata associated with it. So it's really cool. You kind of want to know a little bit more about what you're doing, because it's probably going to require, having some kind of narrative behind it or some kind of extra communication that you want to put out to your community. I don't necessarily recommend it for first timers, but it's an interesting trait and feature to kind of understand how it works, in case either you are the one actually minting from somebody else's collection, or if you're just kind of being asked as a creator why you did not do a delayed reveal. So it's super fun, super easy to use. They make I'm not going to do it this time, but they walk you through right here. Could not be easier. You just kind of set up a password, set up your placeholder data, and then at the time of your choosing, you just come right back to Third Web and choose to reveal. You put in that password, and it will happen instantaneously for you. For now, we're just going to choose the simpler option, which is the reveal upon mint. So this is kind of your default, your standard. As soon as somebody mints from the collection, they are going to see exactly what they minted. Now, this final piece is also something really cool that I like that they did, and it's one of Third Web's newest features. And this actually goes back to, this can really help. It can help. I want to say it was Chris that asked this question about the order of different NFTs and things like that, and whether people can grab that stuff. This is not necessarily going to solve that exact problem that we were talking about with people being able to see things in advance, because technically that information is still going to IPFS, and it is, if you know what you're doing, it's searchable. But it's just a nice thing, maybe for you as the creator. If you just want to be able to hit a shuffle button on your collection, and just kind of run with, hey, whatever happens, you're randomizing the order of these different pieces. Because chances are, I'm not an artist myself, but chances are if you are, building out this collection of 100 or 1,000 or 5,000 different pieces, there's a chance that when you're actually building out your NFT folder, you're doing things in kind of a purposeful order, because it's just easier to work through. Hey, these 100 pieces all kind of look similar, so I'm going to do them together. I'm going to name them together, etc. It would be a really, really boring mint phase. If 100 pieces all in a row, all kind of had all the same traits and the same general look. So being able to just click a box and let ThirdWeb shuffle the order of your NFTs, and then upload them and get them set up and ready for mint. It's just like a really fun way to kind of break things up, make it a game for everybody. Yourself as the creator included. It's just a really nice feature. So we're going to check that.
I would actually highly recommend doing that just from the like a project owner standpoint, I guess on my end. Like I've seen a lot of people, if the owners of the project know which NFTs are which and like which are rare, and there's any allegation that maybe they knew that they provided that information to other people to gain like a monetary incentive, that makes the community really angry generally, and that's come up a lot in the past with people sniping metadata. So by shuffling the order of the NFTs, and having it all happen off chain and stuff, it's a great way to avoid that.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And our transaction has just finished now as well. You can see, by the way, I don't know how close anybody's looking at my balance, but I started off with 0.05. We are almost done. We have one last kind of set of transactions to make, really, and then we're ready to go. And it's cost just over 0.01. So, for all of the different services that ThirdWeb provides, and knowing that they're not receiving a portion of those fees, you're just paying whatever the gas is. They've done a lot to optimize the way that these contracts are deployed and these changes are deployed, to make the cost as small as possible. They've actually made some dramatic shifts in that regard. When I started using ThirdWeb, as soon as they launched, the prices were quite literally about 10 to 20 times as expensive as they are now. So they've done a lot of work to really help make things as accessible as possible.
Yeah, so you're going to be launching your own contract here for less than 0.05, so less than about 80 American dollars. When we launched our contract, our Honeys contract, back in September of last year, we paid about 1 ETH to deploy the contract. So there's the difference.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, that's also just the joy of working in this type of environment when you take the mentality that to rip off our favorite Honey Monday host, Together We Win. When everybody is kind of collaborating towards the same goals, it's inevitable that you're going to see improvements over time, like contract optimizations to make things nice and cheap. All sorts of stuff. All the stuff that ThirdWeb is doing. When they put in a new feature, there's some other person out there going, "Oh, cool! Now I know that this is possible. So, I'm going to help contribute my own thing to the ecosystem." So just super cool to see how quickly things come along.
Yeah, and this is not an affiliate thing. Like, I don't think ThirdWeb knows we're even doing this, so it's not. Just so you guys know, because we're like gushing about them so much.
Yeah, no, that's a very important distinction. Yes, thank you for calling that out. Yeah, we're not receiving any affiliate kind of thing with ThirdWeb. We just think they're sweet. Cool. All right, so quick recap on what we've done. We have deployed our contract. We have set up our NFTs. We've uploaded them. They are shuffled. So we don't know the order of that exact 3 that we have put into our NFT drop. One of the final things that we have to do is set up something called a claim phase. And a claim phase is really just you are now getting into, okay, when somebody comes to my website, who's going to be allowed to mint? How many pieces are they going to be allowed to mint? When does this thing go live? How much does it cost? What currency am I accepting? All kinds of stuff. So This is our claim phase section, and there is just a ridiculously powerful amount of things that you can do here. Because we just have three pieces, I'm going to kind of streamline this, but I'm going to make sure to just highlight just a couple things that when you're doing this on your own, you can kind of explore and spend a little bit more time with. So, like I said, a claim phase is really just like kind of what allows your users to actually start minting pieces out of your collection. The cool thing about claim phases is this is not just, it doesn't have to just be an on off switch. You can run an entire schedule of claim phases that will automatically transition from one phase to the next. You can have, I've never seen a limit on the amount of claim phases that you can have. And I've tried, 5, 10 different claim phases just on a really advanced schedule. And they will all just kick in automatically at the date and time that you schedule. So if you can imagine, let's say kind of your more typical or one of your more typical approaches to launching an NFT collection is maybe you have maybe you just spent the last 6 weeks building up an allow list. So you've collected wallet addresses, you've kind of gotten people ready for this pre-sale that you're going to do. You're going to be rewarding your most loyal community members by giving them first dibs at minting. You can absolutely set that up. There are settings in here where you can say, who can claim NFTs during this phase. I don't want it to just be any wallet. I want it to be only specific wallets.
Wow.
And you can drop in just a CSV of wallet addresses right here. And during this claim phase, if that wallet address, if you visit the site as a collector and your wallet address is not on this list, you are not going to be able to mint. And conversely, of course, if it is on the list, then you will be able to. That right there has made being able to configure an allow list super, super easy. And when you combine that with automated claim phases, it can be super powerful, like really quickly. So like, let's say just to stick with that example real quick, I want phase 1 to be like my pre-sale allow list phase. And so that way I can say, again, these are my most loyal members. I'm not just going to reward them by giving them first crack at this, but maybe I only want them to have to pay 0.02 ETH in order to claim an NFT. And I can let that go, and I can, make that an exclusive access thing, and even reduce the price. And then let's say I just want that to run for 48 hours and give them first crack at it, and then I'm opening it up to the full public. And my public sale, 2 days later, 48 hours later, public sale is going to be the full price of 0.05 ETH. So and I'm leaving this on any wallet because now I'm saying, hey, this is the public sale. Anybody that comes to the site can mint an NFT. So there's so much cool stuff that you can do, and they give you a whole bunch of settings on how you want to configure these different claim phases. It runs on a timer, like I said. So if you are just if you set this up now and then you just walk away from your computer and don't think about it, all those settings will kick in at exactly the right times, and we'll just convert the correct settings for you. It really is like set it and forget it. Sounding like an infomercial now, but it's the truth. So for our simple tutorial today, I'm just going to leave it, kind of as we have it actually right here, which is, my first and only claim phase. When do I want this to start? Let it start, I guess right now, whenever this was deployed. So it is, if I save this, minting will technically be live. I'm going to leave it at 0.02 ETH. I'm going to leave it at any wallet. I'm not going to change any other settings for now. But again, you can imagine just from the brief examples that I was giving, you can start getting really creative with how you can configure these. So I'm going to do my final transaction here. And this is going to, again, make sure that everything has the proper settings when it comes to who can mint this. So that'll take a second to confirm. Taking a look at some questions in chat. Let's see. Chris asks, will it block a mint before the transaction occurs? Or does the minter still send the funds and then it gets rejected in return? If the latter, who pays for the gas for the refund? So Chris, can you just clarify, are you talking about like the allow list example that I was just explaining? Because if somebody is actually blocked, if they are, if you have an allow list set up and somebody is not on that list, they won't even be able to begin the transaction. The interface is actually updated, before the person can click the claim button. So that's just like a really nice thing. I'm actually glad you asked that question. That makes it nice and easy.
Do you know, so in this case, like a popular thing was to actually try to mint things directly from the contract. And so in that case, do you know what the user would experience if they weren't on the allow list?
That is a good question. I do not know offhand. Because I can give, I don't want to put out a guess and be wrong. But just knowing what I'm doing when I'm actually making these claim phases, and the fact that I'm actually, making a change onto the contract, which is why the transaction occurs in the first place. I would like to think that, it is baked into the contract for that given amount of time. Perhaps somebody in the chat can correct me. So don't hold me to that. But just given what I understand about, what goes on when I'm making changes inside the Third Web dashboard here, then it shouldn't work. Chris asks, what if the supply runs out if they're on the allow list and they can mint an unlimited supply and they send funds, but the supply expires before it goes through? Is that a thing? So it sounds like what you are referring to would be settled by the actual, like, the gas fees. What you might hear sometimes as like a gas war. It's basically just a race to, whose transaction is going to clear first. So if I am not very careful as a creator, and I don't really mind if somebody can just come in and sweep everything all at once. It is possible that somebody can come in and do exactly that. If somebody then submits a transaction and, let's say that their transaction clears after everything's already been claimed, that transaction will eventually fail. They just won't receive anything as a result of paying that gas fee.
Awesome. Yeah,
Cool.
this is a really powerful feature because we've seen the trends in the way mints happen really change in the last year. And so the reason this matters for collections so much is because what we're seeing a lot of people do that aren't able to sell their full supply on the first run is to launch mint phases. So they'll have windows where people can mint, and this is really accounting for that culture that we're seeing happening right now. I'll be right back, and you guys can keep going. And
Sure. Yeah. Because based on the recent questions we just got asked, and another one from Lazy, I will take another second and talk about some of these other claim phase settings that we had skipped over. So I'm glad that you guys are pushing on this because this is just a good opportunity to further add context to some of these questions that you all are asking. Lazy specifically asks, can you set limits per wallet in phases? And yes, you can. So there are a couple different ways that you can do that. My first question to answer is, how many NFTs will you drop in this phase? For our tutorial that we're doing today, there's really only 3 pieces. But if this is a more typical collection of 100, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, I can come in here and say, hey, I'm capping this phase at just 500 pieces, and then people are going to have to wait. If that doesn't make sense for what I'm doing with my drop, then I can get a little bit more granular. I can say, how many NFTs can be claimed per transaction, where I can, basically make it so that way somebody can't just come in and, mint all 10,000 in one go. I can break it up and say, hey, only 5 can be claimed per transaction. What you're doing is, if your drop has a lot of hype behind it, if it's highly anticipated, if you have a whole lot of people that are here and ready to claim, at the time that it goes live, what you're doing is you are spreading out the chance, the distribution for more and more community members by making it more difficult or more time consuming for people, that are just kind of coming in to try to sweep the entire collection. When you combine this setting, how many NFTs can be claimed per transaction, with this setting over here, how many seconds do wallets have to wait in between claiming, then you can get even further specific. So you can say, hey, maybe I want to bump this up to people can claim up to 10 at a time, but whatever amount you end up claiming, you have to wait, I don't know, an hour, or an hour in between. That's not an hour. There we go. In between claims, like, because this is measured in seconds. Is that math correct? Yep. Right? Oh, I can't do math on the spot. Yeah, 60 minutes. Yeah, okay. Sorry. But you get the idea that you can kind of use these different settings to say, hey, we don't just want like one person or 2 people to come in and take the whole lot. We want to be able to spread this out to a diverse, large amount of holders when possible. So let me know if that doesn't answer your question for any reason, Lazy. And then Chris says, I'm not familiar with ETH. I think it does things differently. More familiar with Cardano. I would love to talk to you about Cardano at some point, Chris, because I know next to nothing about it. But I know in busy mints, transactions take time to go through, and the project needs to refund those that weren't able to get an NFT because they sold out in the meantime. Sounds like that doesn't really happen on ETH. It's complicated. I wish I could explain it quickly. There can be like kind of a lot of caveats to that. It's interesting that Cardano has kind of like a refund system. But yeah, we can talk about that in more detail after the class. It's a good question. Okay, so we are almost done, everybody. Thank you. This is great. The class is taking, we're over my original time estimate. but that's only because everybody is asking so many wonderful questions, and I'm thrilled. I know Stacey's thrilled as well, just to see that everybody's still here asking great questions. You're all engaged, and the fact that you've listened to me talk for an hour and a half straight, you all deserve the freaking medal. So I appreciate you all. We're going to wrap this up with one of the funnest parts, which is actually getting the embeddable minting widget onto your site. So when it comes to actually allowing our users to come and claim the NFT, we need to give them an interface to be able to do that. And so ThirdWeb has this embed tab here, and they give you a nice little iframe over here. And if you want to see what this is going to look like, you can just simply scroll down. And this is kind of like a little preview for you that's going to show you what your claiming widget actually looks like. And this is, it's a live widget. And this is going based off of the different claim phase settings that we have set up. So when we actually set this up, I did not put a limit on the amount that people could claim. So you can see that I can actually come in here and choose to mint all three if I wanted to, and my cost will scale accordingly. Because if you remember, we set the price of one NFT at 0.02 ETH. So if I want three, then I can do this math on the spot. It makes my total 0.06. Also fun to note, because we hit that shuffle button and we shuffled the order of the different NFTs, this is not giving me any insight, this image right here, into what I might mint, as opposed to if I hadn't checked that, it kind of runs like an animated GIF and kind of gives you like a little preview into some of the pieces into the collection. I have some customization settings here. It's pretty standard stuff, nothing too crazy, but it can be nice if you are trying to configure this to match the look and feel of your website, where I can choose an overall theme, and then I can choose a primary color and a secondary color. So I can kind of mess with this a little bit and make it nice and pretty. And then I'm going to copy this into my website. Now, when it comes to your website options, you are able to use any website builder or web page builder that is going to accept embeddable HTML, or the ability to take an embed code and just drop it into the site. An example where this does not work would be something like any free WordPress.com site. If you want to be able to embed stuff, you need a paid WordPress.org site. But there are free Oh, is that wrong?
Yeah, that's wrong.
It does work on WordPress.com.
I think you might have said it backwards. So WordPress.org is free, and that's where you would build websites, I think, right? Or am I wrong?
Yeah, I think .org is the paid.
One's like a blog, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that I believe is your WordPress.com, where it doesn't give you like any I think they call them widgets, but I can't remember.
I might be interrupting for no reason, but okay. Anything that will embed an iframe.
Yes. Yeah. So one free option would be something like, if you didn't already know, let me see if I have an example. I do not. So with Google, you can actually create a free site, and they do allow you to embed. They do allow you to embed an iframe right onto the site. So I can, if I'm building a web page on Google and I say I want to embed, I can choose to just grab an embed code. Luckily, ThirdWeb makes that easy right here with the big old copy button, I can paste that in. And it will put it right into my site. Now, there are a whole bunch of there could be a super long conversation that we have around, what kind of website builder should I use? What should I be looking for? This and that. Not going to really spend too much time on that in this. We can talk about that after the fact. But really, all you're looking for is just any kind of website builder or web page builder, landing page builder that will allow you to allow you to embed an iframe into the site. So I'm actually just going to use a service called Card. I happen to like Card a little bit better. They're not free, but they're super cheap, and they have a 7-day free trial. They are $19 a year, and I'm just here to show you just the exact same thing, which is you can come in here, embed. I'm going to put in the embed code, and I believe I'm going to have to save this first. Bunny University.
And this should
Description.
work with really anything, any website builder that has the HTML input widget. It's just an iframe. So if you were using like GoDaddy, website builder, Squarespace, anything like that, I think you could even do this in a Shopify store too. It would work.
Absolutely. Yeah, really good call out. Let me see. I feel like I messed this up. I think I did because it didn't get saved properly.
Lazy is asking, are there any more advanced features for the embed? What kind of features are you looking for, Lazy? It looks like there was only a few customization options, but I do think you could, if you wanted to make it look a little more suited to your brand, you could kind of like build the sort of container around it.
Yeah, absolutely. You would be able to really come in with any kind of CSS that you want to add and mess around with things if you are comfortable doing that kind of thing. You can absolutely customize that kind of thing. I actually want to pull up a really quick example just because it's friends of ours, but I know that they used Third Web for their collection. I'm going to see real quick, let it load and see if their site's doing what I think it does. Yeah, but so I'll show you like a really legitimate example in a second. But you can see I have my widget here. I can come in and click Mint. I'm actually just to show you, what it's really going to look like to a user. Or you can come in and see for yourself if you want. I'm going to drop the link into chat. But for anybody that's not doing that, if I've never been to this website before, if I've never connected my wallet to this thing before, the Third Web widget, one of the biggest benefits of it is the power of choice when it comes to connecting my website, or my wallet to the website, which is I click here and it doesn't just say just MetaMask. It actually lets me choose MetaMask, Coinbase Wallet, or Wallet Connect. And if you're unfamiliar, Wallet Connect is where you can get all of your hardware wallets as well. So if you need to do that for any reason, or if you're just using, a lesser known wallet choice, the Third Web widget provides your users with little over 20 different wallet choices to connect with. But I can come in here with MetaMask. I can connect my wallet. I can choose to mint. And yeah, and then me as the recipient, as the creator. I, of course, received the different funds, and then we are good to go. So, yeah, I just canceled the transaction. That's why it said failed to claim.
It doesn't work, Rat.
So, yeah,
Redo the whole class.
yeah, we'll start over. No, but real quick, I'm glad I remembered this. I just want to show everybody the last thing. These are friends of ours over at the Nutleys. Huge, just like super fun, sweet people. Super supportive of everything that Honeys do. Really cute art. Really great airdrops, monthly airdrops. But just to show you, they're also using the Third Web widget. They stylized it a little bit. So for whoever was asking earlier about, what they can, what their options are for customizing the minting widget, this is just an example of some of the things that you can do. They customized the text. They made it a pop-up widget. They changed some of the colors around. And what you're seeing is I can actually come in here and either mint a brand new piece, or because I already have a Nutley NFT, I can actually just click the inventory tab and I can take a look at the piece that I already have. So whether I'm looking at it on OpenSea or if I'm looking at it on the Nutley website, I can see all of the pieces that I own, even from the Third Web minting widget. So, with all of that said, what does everybody think? How are you feeling? What questions do you have? Is there any big topic that I missed that we didn't cover? How's everybody feeling right now? Stacey's, how are you feeling?
Okay, a lot to say here. First of all, I'm so impressed by the solution that the Nutleys put. Like, their website is beautiful. Definitely take a look at that, everyone, because what they've done is they've put this, they've put the widget into a modal. So what it's allowed them to do is just style the button as whatever they want, and it totally fits in with the style of their website. It looks so good. Million impressed by that. Second of all, this is so cool, and like I want to go make a collection right now, even though I have like 100 collections and there's no reason for me to make a collection. This has so many features, Rat, that I wasn't expecting, like especially the ability, I forget what they called it, but to mint in phases and set all those different restrictions. Like if you were launching a project now, and what I'm like, because I did that other project, the Vinny and Friends project artwork, and so I'm watching these guys, like who are the project managers, kind of go through the process of like trying to do all their marketing and stuff. And like what has to be done is you have to set up all these mint lists with other communities and like collab and get them involved. So you could just take that list right from like pre-mint or something, import it in all these different phases, and it's just automated. Like that's shockingly good. It's shockingly good. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, that's the tagline. It is shockingly good.
Third Web, shockingly good. Feel free to use
Shockingly
that soundbite,
good.
guys. It's free.
No, I could not agree more, and I'm honestly I'm glad you pointed out earlier that we're not actually sponsored by Third Web, because I know that it does sound like that, and we're not. It was really good of you to point that out, because this is not like we're not trying to sell you all on Third Web so that way we can get rich. Yeah. We're selling you on the coolest technology and the easiest technology that's out there, and the teams that we enjoy, because we want you all to be successful and just raise the awareness that like some of this stuff that was either impossible or might as well have been impossible 6, 9, 12 months ago. Like things are changing really fast. It is really easy to get up and running. Everything that we looked at today, aside from the the three very tiny gas fees that we paid for some of these transactions, besides that, everything is free, or can be free. Just matters, what you want to put into it. If you want to set up a landing page like we have here with Card, $19 for an entire year, with a 7-day free trial, I think is more than reasonable, for starting a project. And of course, there are websites that you can get out there, or landing pages that are totally free or even cheaper than what Card has to offer. So a lot of cool stuff. And if you ever venture into the Third Web Discord, um, again, it's going to sound like we are sponsored sponsored or affiliated with them. But I promise you, we're not just big fans of the way that they operate in Discord, because they make a concerted effort to make sure that their not just their marketing team or their community team is in there, but that their developer team is in there as well. So, we kind of looked at like the no code options for today, but you can get extremely complex really quickly. And some of our Bunny University courses will be, looking at some of that more complex stuff with that requires some basic coding knowledge. And their devs are almost 24/7 on standby in that Discord. So if you do have any questions, definitely encourage you to reach out. They are very responsive. We'll do audits with you on the code. Um, it's just a really fun team. So we really enjoy being able to bring projects like Third Web, that are inspiring us. We like to bring that to our community's attention.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
if anybody has any more questions, definitely pop them in the chat. Now's the time, and I think Rat maybe can take a second to talk about the like take home course that he's put together. I do see one question here from Lazy, which says, would a site like Card be able to handle tons of traffic? I think the advantage actually to using a site like Card is like if you are running your own WordPress website, right, and you're handling hosting on your own or through a company like GoDaddy, for example. It's like dedicated hosting for you specifically, and so feel like there's a lot more chances of like your resources not being able to handle the bandwidth. But and correct me if I'm wrong, Rats, with something like Card that's more their whole business is just running these like micro sites for you. They've totally like taken on the resource management side of the server, and would be really, I feel like it'd be a lot more unlikely for things like server outages due to like spikes in traffic to happen, just because of probably the way they set their servers up. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of just um, you're kind of in the same situation that you'd be with just about anybody else in that, you know uh, chances of the site going down for a substantial amount of time, probably extremely slim. Some services will actually list their uptime metrics. Um, I don't know that Card has the user base that they're going to do that, but um, it's not to get into like a decentralized kind of debate or conversation, um, but it's just like most other things, which is like, if a mega hosting company like uh, AWS or Fastly, or any of these, whenever you see like a big outage, like, hey, Spotify, Netflix, Reddit, and Facebook are all down today, like, yeah, you run those risks. That's very, very minimal in the grand scheme of things. Pain in the butt when it happens, but your average landing page and stuff like this, not not a problem to concern yourself with.
Yeah, the key I think with something like this is like if you have a huge spike of traffic, you run that risk. But just go with a solution that has managed hosting or like some kind of support. Don't try to like stand up your own, like, Amazon web server, if you're not experienced with that kind of thing, because managing it, if it does go out, is going to be a lot harder to do on your own. And generally with like hosting services for the web, their support is included, and they're there 24/7 to help you with that.
Absolutely. So, with that in mind, and given what you had just mentioned, chat, the last thing that we're going to take a look at together, before we call it a night, is we are going to be posting this link absolutely everywhere. This is kind of like the take home assessment version of everything that we just walked through, but it's also got all of your different resources attached to it. So I'll just show you what it looks like real quick. And again, we'll make the link available to you, and I'll show you how you can use it for yourself.
Did you want me to
All
drop
this is
that? Sorry, do you want me to drop that Google link right now, or do you want to send out like a PDF version?
I'll send it out in 1 second because I just want to show one thing about it.
Okay.
So yeah, so this is just going to give you a summary of basically everything that we just talked about and say what it's, what this sheet is. The third page is going to be all of your, resources. So it's going to have an actual like step-by-step doc from ThirdWeb on how to create your contract. It's going to include a link to the slide deck that we opened with today, some additional sites on, website builders that you can use. The one thing that we did not talk about that some of you may find extremely interesting is services that will actually help you create generative art collections and the metadata attached with it. Where like, maybe some of you, while we were building this spreadsheet together, you were looking at this and going, yeah, that's great if you only have 3 pieces. But I want to make a collection of 5,000, and generating the metadata for that sounds like it's a huge pain in the butt. Luckily, there are services out there that will allow you to kind of do all that in bulk. I've not personally used either of these services. I don't know if you have seen these, or if chat has any additional resources that we can take a look at. But what I will say is these services came endorsed specifically from ThirdWeb. They noted their compatibility directly with ThirdWeb. So again, we're just going to go ahead and trust them for now. Make sure to do your own research when you're using any of these projects. Of course, make sure to vet things to take a look. But these come highly recommended, these 2 different services. And the last thing I'll say is, if anybody knows of any additional art generation and metadata generation resources that you think that we should be including here, please just drop a link in Honey's Discord, and I will make sure that they get added here, so that way everybody can use them. And then finally is the assessment itself, and this is all that you're going to have to do with it. I'm going to drop the link in a second in Twitch chat for you all, and then we'll put it all over Honey's Discord. But all you're going to do is, when you are viewing this link, what you're going to see is you are not going to be able to edit anything on here because it's a view-only doc. So all you're going to have to do is just simply make a copy of this document, add it into your own Google Drive, and then you can make any of the edits that you need to. So as you're going through this, you can check off the different boxes. I've created my free ThirdWeb account. Takes 2 seconds. I understand this and that. Basically just a checklist of things to not just help keep you organized on your drop, but also to show Stacy's and myself that you've uh, been progressing and you do understand these concepts, or you have taken these steps. And once you actually go ahead and complete these steps, whether it be on the ETH network or a test network, if you're not quite ready to actually sell anything, simply fill this out. Let us know what your website is. Reach out to us in Discord or Twitter, and we have a very, very special certificate for you that you'll be able to show to anybody and let them know, hey, I'm qualified to set up an NFT drop. I'm qualified to set up a minting app on a website. And whether you want to use that for yourself, or if you're looking to pick up some work with maybe an artist that could use some of your resources, it's all good. We really just want to help empower you to get more involved in the actual building process of Web3, and help make some new connections with people. Help show off, make a little bit of money if you can. Really get involved in the actual building aspect of some of this stuff. So this is just the very first class of Bunny U. I can tell you with confidence there will be more. We are looking to get you certified on multiple different things, and we're just thrilled that you were able to join us for our first class.
Yeah, we hope you all had a great time and learned a lot. We'd love to. The reason we're offering this certificate is because we'd love to eventually have, Web3 stuff is so new, and we'd love to have people just something that they can point to on their resumes to say, like, I did take a workshop in this particular topic, and so that's how I know about it. I know that for me, like, when we're hiring people for our team and just trying to find people to help with just like marketing stuff, community management stuff, dev stuff, it can be so challenging to know in what way people are qualified for the position. And so we want the courses that we offer over Bunny U to really be a reflection of that, and some of the gold standard knowledge that you can get in Web3 technologies today. And I do want to do a quick, if you did enjoy this class today, please give us a follow on Twitch, give us a if you can give us a sub if you'd like. If you have Amazon Prime, you actually get a free Twitch sub every month that you can use to sub to us, and it just gives us a little kickback to help us keep producing great content. So if you feel so inclined, we would really appreciate that. And if not, your presence is enough for us. Just come hang out in the Discord, chat, show off what you've done, and just be part of our little family of bunnies here, because we love to have you.
And we already got, that's such a great call out with Twitch Prime. Lazy McGrady, thank you so much. Whoa, we got Basai gifting 10 tier 1 subs. What a absolute legend.
Bow, bow, bow.
And thank you, Lazy. Thank you for being so engaged, asking great questions. Of course, thank you, Basai, one of our most cherished longtime members here, not just in Honey's, but even specifically in Honey's Twitch. One of our most loyal Twitch subscribers. Thank you for that huge sub bomb. I'm gonna because I can never shut up, and then I promise I will shut up, and I'll let you all get back to your Tuesday night. I have 2 really quick things to hit. Number 1, I just dropped a link in the chat. I'm going to drop it one more time, especially for people that maybe jumped into the stream a little bit late. I have way too many tabs open. If you missed it, basically we have a very quick 1-question survey for you to fill out at the link I just dropped in the chat, the backtalk.io link. This is not a survey we're not putting this to ask you how we did or anything like that. This is a survey so that way you can on chain confirm your attendance to this Bunny University class. And what's going to happen is we are going to, within a week or so, we're going to retroactively send you a POAP, which is proof of attendance protocol token, just a little cute little badge, so that way you can always say that you were here for the very, very first Bunny University class. On all of our Bunny University classes moving forward, we will have a POAP ready to claim. It's just a little fun way to be able to look back on a couple months from now or a year from now, and when we're on class 50, you can say, hey, you were here at the very first one. So make sure to hit that up. If you are having any challenges with it, definitely let me know. But yeah, so there's that. And then the very final thing is, the only other thing that we ask, we love the Twitch subscriptions. We love all of that. We love the feedback here in the chat. If you enjoyed the class today, we'd love if you could just shout us out and let people know what kind of class you just saw. Send people to our Twitter account, link up Honey's NFT on Twitter. Just let people know that, we're doing this kind of thing, not just so that we can feel better, although that's nice, but really, like, you can see that, like, when we had this big collection of people in the Twitch chat and everybody's asking great questions and everybody's engaged, we covered so much more ground than Stasis or I dreamed to cover today. So it's been a really great time with all of you. So if you enjoyed yourself, please let a friend know. Let them know that they should show up next time or catch the video when it's available on YouTube. So really appreciate all of you. So yeah, chat, any last words? Stacy's, any last words before we call it a night?
Thank you all so much for coming. You were excellent pupils. I am very impressed by your pupillage, if that's even a word. And very special thanks to our lovely Professor Rat Benatar tonight. Rat likes to pretend I actually did anything during for this class, but he this was his idea. He made this whole thing. He learned how to do it. He freaking presented it all. So huge thanks to Rat. He's always going above and beyond for the community, and we appreciate that very much.
Well, thank you, Stacy's. Yeah, Stacy's is way too modest. This is the kind of thing that I mentioned. Hey, this might be kind of a fun, casual stream to do at some point. Stacy's is the one that really gives it the signature Honey's charm. And we're able to not just make it a random Tuesday night stream, but build this into Bunny University and make sure that we have certificates for participants of the program, and of course did all the super cute artwork for the drop, which is always fun. So I appreciate you so much, Stacy's. I also appreciate the anonymous gifter that gave Brookhawk a tier 3 sub.
Oh, thank you so much, Anon.
That's huge. Tier 3 sub. That is not a cheap subscription. So, but it's well deserved. Brookhawk is an absolute legend in the Honeys community, just like so many of you. So yeah, I desperately need a drink of water. I don't think I've ever talked this much and this quickly in my entire life. So thanks for letting me ramble with you all. Thanks for asking great questions. Thank you, Stacy's, for being a phenomenal co-host and co-creator. And we'll see you cupcakes all later.
We will hit you at discord.gg/honeys. Bye, cupcakes.
See you, cupcakes.